We are group 7, and now I'm going to go through our eAdam Humanitarian Emergency Management System. So we're going to go through the admin interface, including creating plans, viewing plan statistics, and creating and deleting volunteers. And on the volunteer side, we'll look at their different view, as well as creating a refugee and managing their details. So here we're going to log in as an admin. You can see the role and the very specific options available. At this time, we are going to create a plan. So here we are, we're going to create test plan, and test plan is going to be a pandemic. That's number 4 selected there. Description is free text, so we can enter whatever we want to describe the emergency, as well as the geographical area, and we can put as many camps as we want down, separated by a comma. You can see that test plan has been created here. So next, we're going to actually find it and see. We can see at the moment that there are no refugees or volunteers because, of course, we've just created this plan. So now we're going to go back a step and we're going to try and create a volunteer. Now, we can't create a volunteer for a camp that doesn't exist, as you can see here. So likewise, we're going to struggle to create a volunteer that exists at a camp that doesn't exist. The volunteer's username and password are free text, and likewise, we can enter first name, last name. You can see that the volunteer's phone number must be created with a national code there, and it will throw up an error if not. So now we're just going to have a look at this volunteer. We can see all this delightful information. We can see their account is activated at the moment, so they are available to volunteer. So we're going to exit that now. We're gonna create a refugee. Both admins and volunteers can do this. Anything that a volunteer can do, an admin can also do. So here we are just creating Tom. So we can include multiple medical conditions, and you can see when we've created the refugee family, then it's created with a refugee ID, and it's very important that we write that down because that's what will be used to identify it later. So now we're going to use that ID. We can see Tom and his total of 9 family members. Now that, to be clear, that includes Tom himself. And now we're actually going to view the emergency plan again, and we're going to see how the statistics have changed for test plan, as we would expect. We can see that in Camp 1, we have increased the number of refugees. Remember, Tom's family of 9, and our delightful volunteer as well has been added there too. Now we're going to head up, and now we're going to look at a different plan that was made earlier. We can see again the statistics are a little bit different. The number of recommended volunteers here is based on a ratio, and we can see in Camp 2 here, the number of volunteers we actually need is less than what we have at the moment. So we're going to go in and we're going to deactivate one of the volunteers that already exists there, specifically volunteer 1. And now we're going to select option 3 in order to deactivate volunteer 1, Tom Cruise. So you see we need to enter the name, and now the system has told us that the volunteer 1 account has been deactivated. So we're going to have a look at that and see. Now we can see account activated is false, so we know that it is deactivated. If we want to reactivate Tom Cruise, aka volunteer 1, then we just need to select the reactivate volunteer option. So now we have reactivated the volunteer, as you can see, and we're just going to check out the volunteer's details just to verify that that's the case. And there we are. The account activated is once again set to true. So next we're going to go in and we're going to delete a volunteer. In the event that we don't need that information in the system at all ever again, then that's how we do this. We delete it. So we can delete volunteer 3. And all we need to do is we just need to select the delete option and then volunteer 3, and now they're gone. And we're going to try and find them again, and you can see that the volunteer account is not found. Of course, that's because that information has been totally deleted from the system. All right, next we're going to go in and we're going to close an emergency plan. So we're back to managing the plan. We're going to see all of the existing plans initially though, just to make sure that we have the right details. And now with option 3, we can close a plan. So there we go, we've now closed test plan, and we're just going to verify the status. You can see it now shows up in the full list as being closed. So we can tell from that full list whether a plan is open or not. All right, so now we've logged out as an admin and we're going to log in as a volunteer. So here we go. This is volunteer 3 that we're going to log in as. We can see that they're not found because, as we know, that person has been deleted. However, we're going to log in as volunteer 1, and you can see the role. However, account being deactivated, we know we can't log in unless the admin reactivates. So we're going to log in as volunteer 2, who is, of course, an active volunteer we've created previously. We're going to view our details as volunteer 2. We can see they get the same view that that an admin gets as to their specific details. And now we're going to change some of those details. We're going to edit which camp we're associated with. And there we go. We are now associated with Camp 1. Now, this is within the emergency plan that this person was assigned to previously. Only an admin can assign a volunteer to a plan they are not already within. Now we see the status of our volunteer is available at the moment, and now we're going to create a refugee with that in mind. So much like an admin, this will look very similar. We're going to enter the refugee's first name and last name, how many family members they might have, whether or not they have any pre-existing medical conditions. We can, of course, enter none. Now we've created Bob Jobs. And we need to, again, make sure that we save that specific refugee ID. That's very important for identifying Bob Jobs. So we're just going to have a look as the volunteer at this person's family. We can see that we can identify what camp they're in and so forth. But now we're going to log out as the volunteer.